Napoleon Bonaparte, a name synonymous with ambition and power, was not immune to the enigmatic allure of Egypt. In the late 18th century, Egypt was a land shrouded in mystery and steeped in antiquity. Its ancient ruins whispered tales of a time long past, its hieroglyphs a language yet undeciphered, a puzzle waiting to be solved. The world watched with bated breath, captivated by the land of the pharaohs, and among them stood Napoleon. But Egypt was more than just a riddle to the ambitious French commander. Its strategic location, bridging the gap between East and West, was not lost on him. Yet his interest transcended the purely tactical. The civilization that had built pyramids, that had stood the test of time, held a certain allure that was not just strategic. Napoleon, ever the strategist, saw in Egypt not just a land of ancient wonders, but a key to dominating the world. Napoleon's ambition was not confined to Europe. It extended to Egypt, a land that held the key to his global aspirations. A man of unyielding ambition and cunning strategy, Napoleon Bonaparte was always looking to expand his empire. His gaze turned towards Egypt, a land steeped in ancient history and potential wealth. But for Napoleon, Egypt was not just another territory to conquer. It was a strategic gateway. You see, at the turn of the 19th century, Egypt was the link to the East. It was the quickest route to India, a jewel in the crown of the British Empire. Napoleon understood that to weaken Britain, he had to strike at the heart of their economic power, their trade routes. His grand plan? To disrupt the British trade routes to India by taking control of Egypt. Napoleon's ambitions were not just confined to economic disruption. He saw an opportunity to establish French supremacy in the region. If he could control Egypt, he could control the Mediterranean and by extension the trade routes to the east. With this control, he could potentially tip the scales of power in favor of France. But Napoleon's ambitions didn't stop there. He was captivated by the glory of the ancient Egyptian civilization. He saw himself as a modern Alexander the Great, a conqueror who could bring the enlightenment of the French Revolution to Egypt. He believed that by doing so, he could usher in a new era of French cultural and scientific dominance. However, ambition is a double-edged sword. While it can drive a person to achieve great things, it can also lead them down a path of overreach and eventual downfall. Napoleon's ambition for Egypt was no exception. His grand plans were met with numerous challenges on the ground, from the harsh desert terrain to the fierce resistance of the local population. For Napoleon, Egypt was not just a conquest but a stepping stone to greater power. But as we'll see in the next scene, the journey to power is fraught with obstacles and the outcome is often far from certain. In the summer of 1798, Napoleon embarked on his ambitious expedition to Egypt, a campaign that would be fraught with both victories and obstacles. The first significant event of this campaign was the Battle of the Pyramids, fought on July 21, 1798. Napoleon and his army of 35,000 men faced off against the Mamluks, Egypt's ruling military caste, who were known for their fierce horseback fighting. Yet, Napoleon's strategic genius shone through as he adopted a unique defensive square formation, allowing the French to withstand the Mamluk cavalry and secure a decisive victory. With Cairo now under French control, Napoleon set about establishing a new administration. He envisioned a modern state, modeled after the ideals of the French Revolution. To this end, he introduced significant reforms in law, education, and infrastructure. He also showed a profound respect for Islam, even going as far as to declare himself a follower of the faith to win the hearts of the local populace. However, this period of relative calm and progress was short-lived. By 1799, the British had taken notice of France's activities in Egypt and decided to intervene. Britain, with its dominant navy, saw Napoleon's campaign as a direct threat to its trade routes to India. The British response came in the form of Admiral Horatio Nelson and the Battle of the Nile. This naval showdown, fought on August 1, 1798, saw the British fleet decimate the French, leaving Napoleon and his forces stranded in Egypt. The defeat was a significant setback for Napoleon. It effectively cut off his communication with France and marked the beginning of the end of the French campaign in Egypt. In the following year, a joint Ottoman-British force launched an invasion of Egypt, prompting Napoleon to return to France. He left his trusted general, Jean-Baptiste Kleber, in charge, but the French position in Egypt steadily deteriorated. By 1801, the French were forced to sign the Treaty of Alexandria, marking the official end of their campaign. Despite the challenges, Napoleon's campaign left an indelible mark on Egypt and the world, forever intertwining the destinies of France and Egypt. Napoleon's campaign in Egypt was more than just a military expedition. It was a cultural and scientific endeavor that left a lasting legacy. You see, when Napoleon embarked on his Egyptian campaign, he didn't just bring soldiers. He also brought along a team of more than 150 scholars, engineers, and artists. This group, known as the Commission of the Sciences and Arts, was tasked with studying and documenting everything they could about Egypt. This was no ordinary military campaign. It was an expedition of discovery. The Commission's work led to some remarkable discoveries, the most famous of which was the Rosetta Stone. Unearthed in July 1799, the stone bore inscriptions in 3 scripts: ancient Greek, Egyptian hieroglyphics, and a script called Demotic. It was the key to deciphering Egyptian hieroglyphics, a code that had been lost to time for nearly 2 millennia. But the Rosetta Stone was just the tip of the pyramid. The Commission's scholars studied Egypt's flora and fauna, its geology and climate. They sketched its monuments, mapped its cities, and recorded its customs and practices. They even studied its ancient language and literature. All of this was compiled into a monumental work known as the Description of Egypt, a 23-volume encyclopedia that offered the most comprehensive study of Egypt ever undertaken. The legacy of Napoleon's campaign in Egypt extends beyond the realm of academia. The expedition sparked a fascination with Egypt in Europe, igniting a craze known as Egyptomania. This fascination with all things Egyptian influenced art, architecture, and culture in the years to come. Moreover, Napoleon's campaign had a profound impact on Egypt itself. It marked the end of medieval Egypt and the beginning of the modern era. It introduced new technologies, modernized the country's infrastructure, and set the stage for Egypt's independence from the Ottoman Empire. The echoes of Napoleon's campaign in Egypt can still be heard today, resonating through the annals of history. From our understanding of ancient Egypt to the very fabric of modern Egypt, Napoleon's campaign has left an indelible mark. It was more than a military campaign. It was a journey of discovery that reshaped our understanding of the world. Napoleon's venture into Egypt was a testament to his audacious spirit and relentless pursuit of power. This audacious spirit was not born out of thin air. It was woven into the very fabric of his character, a reflection of his insatiable ambition for power and influence. This ambition found a stage in Egypt, a land teeming with ancient secrets and untapped potential, a land that would serve as the backdrop for one of his boldest endeavors. The French campaign in Egypt was no ordinary military undertaking. It was an ambitious venture that encompassed not just military conquest, but cultural and scientific exploration as well. Napoleon's forces, armed with more than just weapons, plunged into the heart of Egypt, unearthing ancient treasures and unlocking secrets that had laid dormant for millennia. They sought to understand Egypt, to decode its past, and in doing so, they hoped to chart a course for France's future. Yet, the campaign was not without its challenges. Faced with the formidable forces of the Ottoman Empire and the British Navy, Napoleon's grand Egyptian adventure was fraught with difficulties. But even in the face of adversity, Napoleon's audacious spirit never wavered. He pressed on, leaving behind a legacy that would reverberate through history. This legacy is as complex as the man himself. It is a testament to his military genius, but also a reminder of his flaws. It speaks of his relentless pursuit of power, but also his ability to inspire and lead. It is a legacy of cultural exchange, scientific discovery, and military conquest. So, what do you think of Napoleon's Egyptian campaign? Was it a strategic masterstroke or a miscalculated adventure? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more intriguing historical content.